Welcome back to another vlog of me doing stuff. So, what's in all these boxes? First, let's recap. This is my project truck, Buck. And I made a video of buying it a couple years ago now, about that, so. And eventually, I'm gonna finish this truck. But right now, Buck is a mess. And I've been collecting parts to work on Buck in the future. Hopefully that'll be soon, but you know how things go, they never go as planned. The basic plan though is to get Buck running, of course. I want to replace the entire front clip because it is just, yeah, it's, you know, awesome. You know, I even got a new front bumper and a grill. But before I can work on this truck, there's other things I have to do. I mean, to recap, this is the parts truck with the lowering kit that I'm going to put on Buck. I've been doing a ton of yard work this spring. And that's another parts truck back there, a 4x4 donor truck that I bought that I need a few bits off before I scrap. So then, what's in all the boxes? Obviously, Buck parts, but it's not that simple. It never is. You see, well, many of these parts are the same part. Well, parts. If you haven't been able to tell, these are fenders. But wait, there's more. That's a fender. That's a fender. That's a fender. There's another fender. And all those are fenders. It was a long drawn out issue over the winter. And I will explain all these fenders. But that's going to be another clip I'm going to make later. Because right now my primary goal today is to get all this stuff out of my garage and out in the pole barn to store for now so I can use the garage and work on my other project car. I mean, but it's not just all fenders either. And like over here, this is the brand new bumper for Buck. There's some other stuff down there. There's a large tool I bought to work on Buck. I mean, some of this junk's been in here for a while. Like there's my table saw, sled, bottles, and more bottles. And there's a tower of wheels I got back there for Buck. I actually got 2 sets of wheels. And I got a good deal on the stuff, of course. The wheels I got, the one set that you can see the tower back there, that was only like $78 plus tax a wheel, so it was just over $300 for the set. And then I got another set, well, a mixed set, that's a matching set right there. There are 2 over here on my bench, which are just, I got 2 of one style and 2 of another style in that tower. And that set, believe it or not, was only $100. So those are just rollers, and if I want to throw some tires on for burnouts and such. Anyways, enough yip yapping. I got some work to do. Let's get to it. Making progress. Can I actually get to my toolbox again? I mean, there's still a bunch of junk, but nothing interesting and stuff. This will be trashed or whatever. And that's just, you know, cardboard that's going to be burned on the burn pile later and stuff. Anyways, this is all the crap I've pulled out of here. All, you know, not that. All that is fenders. That's my best driver's fender. I think that's my best passenger fender over there. And I've laid out a couple just for examples. Some of these boxes have 2 fenders in them. You can see right there. And some of them are just singles. But the deal is, I don't know. Let me flip this, sorry. I don't know if it was shipping, because the majority of these fenders were sent FedEx. Actually, I think almost all of them, maybe 100%. And I still feel that possibly a lot of these fenders were damaged in the first place, and I just, you know, people already returned them and then I got them. So let me show you what I got. Here's a good example. You see right here, check out that corner. That is no bueno. And here's the other end. That's not supposed to face that direction. So, I mean, they are new. I mean, look right here, here's a nice ding. I mean, the majority of the fenders are smashed on one end or the other, and they're smashed pretty good. Or they have, you know, a bunch of dings and other dents and, you know, other too much damage for it to be a new fender. And when you buy brand new fenders, you expect them to be pretty good. I mean, I'm not a body guy. I mean, yes, you can fix little dings or, you know, minor issues. I wasn't looking for perfect, but most of these fenders are pretty much scrap or, you know, parts for if you need to chop them up and use them for another fender, or if you're a body guy and you don't mind putting all the work, because this would cost me, you know, fixing that corner alone, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much it cost me to fix this one fender, but more than the fender costs, I assume, so just get another one. And the thing is, all these fenders, all this stuff, even these, I forgot to point out over there, those 4 Ender fenders, which I originally bought a kit, which after this clip, I'll make another clip going into a lot of detail of what's what and, you know, where I got what from and so on. Anyways, all this fender junk cost me only just over 200 bucks because they would write it off as shipping damage. I would contact them, show them pictures, you know, send them pictures, and they'd be like, yeah, we'll just send you another shipping damage, just wrote off, dispose of it. And, you know, some of these I'm gonna have to dispose of because they're taking up space. I don't need all these fenders, but I thought it would be amusing for, you know, at least a quick video to show you what I got. I mean, yes, it was also very annoying too. I mean, I was on the phone a lot of emails and communications, you know, back and forth, and a few even refund hiccups that dragged out, and it was like, I almost loaded up my truck and drove a bunch of stuff back to the warehouse. So anyways, as I said, this is my best driver's fender. These, you know, square boxes, they're all rectangles, but they're not, you know, whatever. These boxes are all, you know, inner fenders. And the first set I got was, you know, the entire set. And then, you know, one was damaged, but both fenders were damaged. So then they sent me another set, and I ended up with 2 sets, which, you know, honestly, I don't care if the inner fenders are damaged. I mean, I'll use them either way. They're inner fenders. I just wanted, the ones I have on the truck are just rusted beyond, you know, they're crumbling. So anything is better than that, in my opinion. So obviously there are possible ways for me to recoup some of my money and make it even less than 200, but that wasn't my intent. It just ended up this way, because why should I have to pay hundreds for smashed up junk? This passenger fender is my best. The front isn't, you know, rolled over and smashed. I don't think there's any dings along the top. There might be a couple dings on the other side. You know, I'm not gonna flip it over right now, but the back corner is slightly smashed. And I'll do my best to shape it out. I mean, you can see it right here, it's curved in right there too. It's not ideal, but at this point, with all these fenders, I'd given up. I was like, that's it, I'm done. This is good enough. I'm gonna cut my losses, and so on. All right, so again, I wasn't expecting perfect show quality fenders for the price I paid, but come on. Anyways, the first and second sets I bought were from eBay. 4 fenders, 4 inner fenders. Third and fourth sets from Summit Racing. The 5th, 6th, 7th sets also from Summit were supposed to be inspected before being shipped. So I don't know if they were or they got damaged. You know, they all got damaged on the way, you know, in shipping. Oh, and one of the final sets from Summit was a different brand they tried, a Kappa brand, but still damaged. So 10 more junk fenders from Summit. 8th and 9th set I purchased again from eBay, but a different merchant. And these were Kappa brand as well. And I finally got a decent driver's fender, but the passenger still was damaged. Both those sets. So 4 more fenders. 10th set, eBay as well, but I just tried to get the passenger only since now I had a good driver's. Still junk. The 11th and 12th order were just a passenger since I already had a driver's. And I ordered those from Amazon. They were also Kappa fenders, both junk, and returned. And then I gave up. I was done. There was no more fenders, bringing the total fenders to 21. Well, actually 19 because I returned those 2 Amazon fenders. 1 good, 1 okay, and 17 junk fenders. Well, 19 total junk fenders, including the 2 I returned. Oh, and those 4 inner fenders. 2 were dented, but whatever. I didn't really care about those. While some of these fenders had up to 4 pieces of protective foam packaging, none of it seemed to help. There was plenty of them where the foam was on intact, but the end of the fender was just rolled right over. Now, I know for a fact that it wasn't just me getting damaged fenders, because I saw on Facebook Marketplace 6 or more ads for people that were selling junk fenders, for GMT 400s, trucks, various, models, that they had gotten, and they were probably told to write off as well. One guy I messaged to see if it was a good fender, because he had kind of a bad angle on the picture, and I asked him for more pictures, and he took more bad angle pictures, so he was deliberately trying to hide the fact that it was damaged, because if you got the right, you looked at it long enough, you could see that it was smashed or dented in a certain spot. So, it wasn't just me. Still, in the end, it only cost me about $200 for all this junk, but the time I spent taking pictures, emailing, and on the phone, especially with Summit, man, not fun. Definitely was not. I mean, if I would have known about this much hassle, I would have skipped it. I would have just found some used fenders. Anyways, got the truck loaded up with all the wheels for the first trip. I'm gonna have multiple trips here, and I can't even go all the way because you saw for yourself, I got 3 junk trucks in my way. So I gotta carry this stuff most of the way. I better get to work because I'm losing daylight. Oh, and I forgot to cover this box right here. This is just more buck parts. Like, for example, I got a grill filler panel right here and 2 air dams I got a really good deal on. I mean, this whole box is only less than $60. I paid like $17 for the filler panel and $20 a piece shipped for these air dams, which was, a steal in my book. I mean, that I don't know how they afforded to sell them shipping $20, but whatever. Also, I forgot to point out, many of these boxes have 2 fenders in them. Is there are 2 fenders, 2 fenders. So it's not just 1 fender a box. There's a lot of fenders. Pass boot here. It's early April-ish, and I'm currently at the UPS, store, about to drop off 2 fenders. You can see there's 2 boxes. And they're both passenger fenders and both capped fenders that I got off of Amazon. Now, of course, the first one I paid for, and the second one is a replacement, but they're both damaged, just like the other fenders. One is smashed in the front, and one is smashed in the rear and the top, corners. So that's no good, obviously. I want, I paid for a brand new fender. I want a brand new, good fender. Now, per the Amazon replacement, I could probably keep on going until I have a dozen or so fenders, but I don't want to let this get out of hand and also they decide to charge me for a dozen or so fenders or drags out. I mean, technically, I don't think I can get to a dozen fenders in 30 days because I have 30 days to return the one, but at this point, I'm just going to return this 2, and maybe that's it for now. I might decide to change my mind later and try Amazon again or another place, but to not let things get out of hand, I'm going to return these 2 fenders and get refunded for these 2 right now. Anyways, back to present boot. Bonus clip. This is the new grill I got for luck. Already bought the exact same grill for $1. And somehow it was damaged. See right here, over here, and up over here. Now, I know it wasn't shipping damage because the box was perfect. I've already contacted them about a replacement, which they sent and told me to dispose of this one. The replacement is, you know, pretty good. There's a minor issue over here where there's like some kind of stringy plastic that was like, I guess when they pulled it out of the mold, maybe, you know, no big deal. It might buff off, or it's not really a high visible area, so good enough. Still, never ends. Always part issues. More part issues to add to the list. Some rusty rockers and a scratched up and dinged up bumper. Bumper's kind of hard to show on camera, but you know, you buy a brand new part, you expect it to be in good condition, not have to need a bunch of, you know, body filler and extra work to make it work. So, I mean, especially, you know, new parts not to be rusty. So it's just, you know, just annoying. Anyways, I'll exchange them for something that's hopefully better. Alright, I got all that junk hauled out to the barn and such, and it's actually been a few. I've been working on some other videos. I've been meaning to make this outro. You can see for yourself, got a lot more room in the garage. Air conditioner's back over in the wall where it should be. I got the right angle, so it's actually leaking on the outside, not on the inside. Awesome, I can use it now. Been cleaning up, picking up, organizing. And there's still a bunch of junk in here. I got the crate to deal with eventually, which that'll be in the fall. And that's a part I just got for Buck, another part that's got to go out in the back, and we'll deal with that another day. As I said, working on some other videos and such. Even worked on the bed a little bit, you know, that'd be a future video. But this is it. Time to wrap this thing up and move on to the next. Let me grab my list. I made a list here real quick because I'm getting to the point where I guess you got to have notes, because I hate when I forget to point out something when I'm wrapping up a video. But anyways, I want to mention that, let me know what you think about that camera I was using earlier in the video. I'm actually using my camera that I always use, mostly have been using right now. Because that camera, when I watched the footage, it seemed maybe a little too shaky sometimes. It was having trouble focusing. And I actually, somehow I lost a couple of my intro clips. Only the intro clips, so thankfully it wasn't this, you know, a clip that I had to remake or nothing. But I don't know about that camera. I mean, I kind of like how it looks. I do have to use an external mic, which I'm not using right now. So it's kind of a little more annoying, but let me know what you think. Moving on. Summit did eventually give me a full refund. You know, they wrote off, you know, their fenders, the shipping damage, and did an insurance claim or whatever on them. And I got the full money, you know, full amount back for those fenders. Now, if they wouldn't have, you know, they're only not in Ohio down below me, not too far, a few hours off. I would have drove all those fenders back. I mean, I would have loaded them up in the back of my truck and drove them all back to get my money. So that was you know, I was gonna get my money one way or the other, regardless. Originally, I had planned to buy my fenders, you know, a fender kit from this place in Ohio, actually. And I forget the name of the place. They've changed their prices and other stuff, but I mean, I was meaning on picking up those fenders for back when I bought Buck, and they were cheaper. You know, they're about as much as I spent, but they would have been nicer and not damaged, because that place would not ship them. And there probably was a good reason they wouldn't ship them, because they probably got damaged a lot in shipping. And if I had to bet money, I would say several of those fenders were already returned and damaged before they even shipped to me. I mean, you can tell by the boxes, and I don't know. So, I mean, maybe people didn't even bother trying to get, you know, replacements. They just send them back, and the places then send them to me, and then they want to get insurance claims or whatever. Either way, my strategy was eventually they would run out of damaged fenders, and I would get some good ones. And, you know, see, that only happened for one side, the drivers, passengers, and I mean, that was a lot of fenders. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you're welcome for getting rid of all those junk fenders. I'm biting the bullet on that one. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. I mean, some I can possibly trade, sell. Most of them I'll probably have to scrap. Who knows? If I find the right person who wants to repair them. But eventually I'm going to have to get them out of my way and get rid of them. So I'll get a few cents in scrapping them and burn the boxes, whatever. But Buck's not going to be a show truck. This is just, supposed to be a ratty muscle beater, whatever truck. I'm not going to do a good paint job on them. I'm going to do some kind of rattle can, just quick 5-minute thing. Looks good at, 50, maybe 100 feet. But that's the point of the truck. I wanted a beater, not show truck. So it is what it is. Ultimately, I didn't spend that much. I mean, it was a big headache, but it was over the winter, so it wasn't, a total loss of time. And I haven't gotten around to even use them yet, so I don't know. I guess it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just, it's kind of funny. It's just all those freaking vendors to get, one one good one, and the other ones are, whatever. Anyways, let me know what you think about, everything, the camera, fenders, what would you do, and so on. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this amusing, helpful, or whatever, but keep it real.